This is Jambo Radio.
Good afternoon, sports fans. Welcome to the World Cup edition of Sports Engine, reaching to you on Jambo Radio Scotland. I remain Ladi Egbedure. With me on the show is Enifemi Afolabi, the one I like to call Zimo. Zimolini, welcome to another edition of Sports Engine.
Hello, Ladi. Good afternoon.
Well, another shocker. We saw one yesterday in the game between Saudi Arabia and Argentina. But I'm sure a lot of football fans out there were not really expecting what happened again today between the Japanese and the German team. The Germans going ahead through via a penalty, and the Japanese coming back strongly to lay down a marker. Seeing a shift in the makeup of football supremacy in world football at this World Cup in Qatar, Zimo.
Ladi, I would say number one, played at an unusual time. There's no room for two friendly games before the World Cup, so everybody's right. So, who is going to be caught napping or who is going to be in form at this World Cup? So we're just saying what's not ever happened in a very, very long time, like the Argentines getting big, like the Saudi Arabia. All these players play back home. They all play. There are 1 or 2 teams that have their squad that play back. All the squad played in their local league. The Qataris and the Saudis. But when they face Messi, they try to prove a point and say, well, we're here now. And they laid the template. And the template was followed by, I think, 2 other games we watched yesterday. And the Japan versus the other, what's it called?
Germany.
Yeah, Germany. And they beat Germany. They came back from 1 goal down to come and beat Germany. So it's an unusual World Cup. So I would expect to see unusual things, because the Saudis have played the marker. You work hard, right? Work hard in front, then you can get to anybody. That's what I say.
If you look at some of the results coming in, apart from let me say to
Senegal,
to Netherlands, we saw Tunisia and Denmark. It was a goalless affair, and another goalless affair again played out today in the game between Morocco and what's it called, and Belgium. These are results a lot of football fans were not really expecting. And when you see a Tunisian side, going up, toe to toe with a Danish team that since they got their football back in the right motion, they've been performing very well. So you start to ask questions that perhaps what Samuel Eto'o said before the start of this World Cup, that we're going to see an African team go all the way to the semi-final, probably leave the World Cup. Do you see it happening with some of the results we've seen?
I'm not sure of that, Laji, to be honest with you, whether an African team will reach the semi-final. They might try, but it's an unusual thing, especially when you look at the Saudis against the Argentine. I think it's one of the biggest upsets in the World Cup history. The Argentines have not lost in 36 games in 3 years before they face the Saudis. All these players played back home. So I think what is if you work hard, right? Press any team from the front, anything can happen. And that's what we've seen in the earlier games we've seen in this World Cup. Apart from Iran versus England and Senegal, Netherlands. Even the Senegalese, they almost got a point until in the 90th minute, before
That's right. They considered late goals.
Late goal.
Yeah, but let's look at the game between Morocco and Croatia that ended goalless earlier today. There wasn't too many, close quarters of scoring goals. There weren't too many goal scoring opportunities that was created in that game. What do you think might be the reason for that?
Yeah, I think the playmaker for Croatia is Luka Modric. Everybody knows. If you look at the game today, about two players got a yellow card trying to mark him out of the game. They did that successfully. They marked him out of the game. If you work hard, surround the playmaker. Look at Messi yesterday. The second half, he was useless. They had people around him, so they couldn't get the ball to Messi. Before Messi could do any wonder, So if you can't get the ball to him or get the ball to Luka Modric, you neutralize your opponent. I think that's what people have been trying to point out. The Saudis have laid the marker. If they can play against Messi, who have never lost in an international game in 36 games. So that's what we're seeing now. People are just trying to work hard and press from the front.
Yeah, and still talking about the World Cup, there's an ongoing game that's going on right now, and Spain are leading Costa Rica by a lone goal. Don't forget, later in the day, Belgium will take on Canada. And let's look at some other stories that has been coming out from Qatar talking about the World Cup. The Saudis have declared a national holiday following the victory over tournament favorites Argentina in their Group C opener at the Lusail Stadium on Tuesday. The fifth game of the 2022 World Cup produced one of the biggest shocks in the competition's history as the Saudis turned their more illustrious foes. The South Americans were one of the huge favorites of the tournament following a 36-game unbeaten run, while Saudi Arabia were the lowest ranked in the 51st place. So that's the way it is. The Saudis, they're having a holiday done. I don't forget, I think their next game is going to be against Poland and secure another famous victory in that game, then they will be home and dry.
Honestly, Laddie,
And don't
if
forget,
they
the
can,
Polish side, they played goalless in their first game.
if they can play the way they played against the Argentines, I think they have a chance. Another 3 points, you are in the round of 32 in the next round. So I I think I started to get a point against the Polish. The Polish are desperate for points now. They only had 1 point in their first game. But if the Saudis can play like that, before this tournament, they've only won 3 out of 16 games that they've played in World Cup so far. And they played against Messi and they beat him. That will give them a. No wonder they declared the national. That will have happened in Nigeria. I can bet you that. Nigeria is a big footballing nation, but if that happens, they will have declared a bank holiday. Beating the GOAT, in a World Cup. It's not easy. So I
It's
feel
well
the Saudis
celebrated.
are up for. Yes, they deserve it. Everybody deserves a pay. You know what I mean? The Saudis
That's
today.
right. That's right. Still talking about the World Cup. Samuel Eto'o joined the crowd in Al Mama Stadium to support African champion Senegal during their opening World Cup game against Netherlands.
Mhm.
The Cameroonian FA president, who, don't forget, he declared that earlier before this World Cup that we're going to see an African team probably go to the semifinals or probably win the World Cup. Well, in as much as I believe in that declaration and that is prophetic message, but I don't think we're going to see that happen at this World Cup in Qatar. Or do you see that
No,
happening? An African team springing that kind of surprise, Femi?
no, I think so because the best African team to this tournament was beaten 2-0 in their first game, right? So maybe the second African have played, the whole Ghana a point, each. So, but I don't think any African team can reach the semi-final in this competition or win it. It's not. It's not. It's a big dream, but maybe 2026, 2030 on. Senegalese are the best teams from Africa as of today. They were beaten by Netherlands, and I'm not sure the Netherlands could have been the way the Morocco they will have got away with it. You know what I mean? So let's wait and see.
But apart from African teams winning it, what about some of the outsiders who we've seen create some big upsets, some big moments, at this early stage of the competition? I'm talking about a country like Japan that defeated Germany. I'm talking about a country like Saudi Arabia that got the better of Argentina. How do you fancy the chances of all these dark horses?
I think these dark horses, we've only seen one game each of this tournament from this weekend. But what I'm saying is, so far, what I've seen is, even the dark horses, maybe they'll get to the quarter final, but there are still some big teams there that will get to the semi final. I still fancy the Argentine. Remember the last time they lost their first game in the World Cup was against the Cameroonian. They won it. Hmm? They won it. So there are some European teams that have done that too. I think the Spanish or the German, they lost their first game and they came back and won the competition. So it's not all gone for the Argentines. I see them as strong
No, you're
contenders.
over for them. It's not you're over for them. Yeah, I'm still talking about Senegal. Their next game will be on Friday, the 25th of November, before their last group game against Ecuador. Senegal is going to get anything out of this competition. I think that next game against Qatar on the right moment for them to pick it. Or was your take?
Yeah, they have to win. Honestly, to win that game, they need that 3 points. They lost their first game, so they need 4 points to qualify for the second round. In this group, they had a chance. We have a chance now. They beat the Qataris and go on and go a draw against the Ecuadorians or beat them as well. They have a very, very good side, the Senegalese, but they were just very, very unfortunate in the last minute that they had to concede that goal. And the goalkeeper is dodgy to me. The goalkeeper is dodgy. The first goal, he could have done better, and this first goal led to the second goal. So they could have got a point as well and stay strong in the tournament. But they had to win the next game. They have to.
But if you look at the performance of Senegal on the night, don't you think that they're missing the services of Sadio Mane?
Very sure. That's sure. They're missing him. If Sadio Mane was there, it could have been a different story. But I expect him to be back in the next game. If not, it will have to be the next game. But the next game, they have to get that 3 points. They don't need a point. They need 3 points to be guaranteed of staying for another week in the tournament. They need 3 points.
That's right. They really need to make hay while the sun shines, get victory against Qatar, the host nation. With all indications, looks like the host nation will just make an exit in the first round of this World Cup because I don't see them surviving. The rest of the teams that they stand to meet.
It's not
Now,
surprising
Egyptian
if they.
football fans,
Yeah, it's
you
not
said
surprising
what?
because
They're going to surprise you. You think they can beat Senegal?
I'm not too sure, but Senegal are desperate for points, and they are the host. Senegal have to be careful. They don't give away cheap. You know, because they're the host. They might want them to stay in the competition for another. Just to
That's
keep the
right.
support going. Yeah, just to keep the support going. The African champion have to be meticulous when they approach this game. That 3 point have to win it.
Which means they can't concentration for the whole of 90 minutes and more.
hmm hmm
Because when you lose concentration, then you can just get punished. Egyptian football fans across the country are really proud that the competition is being held for the first time in an Arab nation. The World Cup is a big deal for us. One of the fans says, and I quote, it's an honor for the entire region to host a tournament. We all want to see a national organization and respectable presentation of what we can do, says Badi Medani, a football service provider. As many cannot afford cable television at home, huge crowds have been gathering to watch the World Cup games on big screens set up in designated public places in Cairo and elsewhere across the country. Don't forget the Egyptians were not able, to qualify for this World Cup because they were knocked out by the African champions, Senegal. So
Yeah.
they are out of it. So, but they are still giving their support to the rest of the Arab countries who are participating in it, and the fact that the World Cup is now being hosted in an Arab nation.
that's the way this laddie. You can see Samuel Eto'o supporting Senegal as well. Senegal is the African champion. So, to be honest, if you look at the Saudis, right, they have a lot of support in Qatar just because they are Arab nations as well. And they are not far from them. They see them as neighbors. I heard people on radio today saying they couldn't sleep in their hotel because of the noise and the celebration overnight, just because the Saudis beat the Argentine. So they are representing, it's like they are representing the Arab nation, in their faith. Like, oh, this is our representative. If you can beat Argentina, go ahead and beat the Spanish. Go ahead and beat the Argentine. So if you come from Arab nations, you surely gather support in this tournament because the host nation is an Arab nation. You get what I mean? So
now, Femi, euphoria? Don't you think the euphoria of this victory might affect the Saudis? The euphoria of this victory might affect the Saudis in their next game.
possible. It depends on the state of mind of the technical players, how they can psych these players up. We've seen this in Nigeria before. We went ahead and beat Brazil in 1996 at the semi-final. We all went out and celebrate. We were all on the streets celebrating, thinking we won the World Cup and all that. But that didn't stop us from winning the final. Our players still, they still have their head down and they we have to finish the job off. So that's the way I see the Saudis. They could celebrate, they could give bank holidays and all that, but their next game, they see it as an opportunity that well, we've got 2 games to go now. At least we need 3. We need 6 of. And I could see them doing that. At least a point in their next game or 3 points. If they can play the way they played against the Argentines, the way they pressed them from the front, they were all out against them. And takes their marksman out. Took him out. And like somebody makes a joke on social media today, say, when you tell the Saudis there's a goat somewhere, yeah, that means the celebration is about to start. So when they saw Mercy as a goat, they're like, oh my God, this is Salah. We need to roast this guy. I mean, look on social media, but
Oh my days. So Messi is the goat, eh? That is meant for the celebration of Salah, but it's not Salah time right now. It's not Salah time. So how come they are thinking about that?
So that's the way it is, because that's the way they say it. They say, oh, okay, the Saudis just tell them there's a goat or ram somewhere. They think, oh, we're having a party, So they took Messi as the goat for the party, So it's the great of all time. I mean, great of
Yeah,
all time is
that's
called.
right.
So they will
That's
send
right.
them for the party.
Still on the World Cup. Still on the World Cup. Now let's look at this nation, France. They've lost very good quality players before the World Cup. Few days to the World Cup. Now that the World Cup is on, they are still losing quality players. The latest French players to exit the World Cup is Lucas Hernandez. He ruptured his anterior ligaments in the right knee during the defending champions 4-1 victory over Australia in their Group D game on Tuesday. So, and he's going to be replaced by his brother, that's Theo, and plays for AC Milan. Now, do you think Theo has what it takes to fill in the shoes of Lucas? Let's start with that.
I'm not sure, but he's a great player. I think they took him to the World Cup. He was there. He came in. He came on for a substitute yesterday. So he's a quality player as well. And France, I think with their display yesterday, they've showed everybody in this tournament that they are back and they are ready to defend their territory. How they can defend it, I'm not too sure. When they get to later stages of the competition. But with their display yesterday, the way they played and they execute the game, they showed
But
that
but
they are
but
playing.
Femi, will you want to judge? Will you want to judge the what's it called, the strength of the French team based on, if you want to judge it based on the level of the opposition? I don't think Australia is the right kind of a nation for us to judge that the strength of that French. Probably if we meet a much more stronger opposition than Australia, then we'll be able to like if they are really good enough, to go ahead
You are
and
right.
defend the title.
You are right, Laddie. Eh? But if you had told before the game today that the Japanese are going to beat the Germans, you're going to be like, oh, the Germans are not a good, the Japanese are not a good test for the Germans. Or you're going to say, oh, the
No,
Saudis are
no,
not a
no,
good
no,
test for the.
no, 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 no.
They got beat.
I might also
No, they
disagree.
got beat.
I might also disagree with
This
you
is
on that as well. You know what? I would disagree with you on that because we all saw the Euro Nations Cup. We saw them at the Euro League. Their performance scene. And
no.
if you remember that this same Japanese squad, they were by Belgium 3-2 at the last World Cup. The Belgian came from
That's
2 goals down. Japanese
that's
team. So we know that this
that's
Japanese team is a seasoned team going forward. They have,
this.
and they have a lot of
What
youngsters who have been
what
included in
about the
that squad as well.
Saudis?
So I knew it was not Germans to win today's
Okay,
game,
what
but I
about the
didn't know it
Saudis?
would end up in defeat for them.
Okay, what about the Saudis?
No, no, no. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody saw that
Thank
coming.
you. Thank you. World Cup, right? This is called the World Cup. There are players in that Saudi. I can bet you nobody in that Argentine team have ever met them before. They've never played against each other because all the Saudis play back home. So this is World Cup. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who is going to shine. You don't know who is going to be the golden boy by January transfer window. We're just starting, right? There are some great footballing nations. We all know them. They are still in this tournament. France is, I could say, one of them in Europe at the moment. They played against Australia that came to the World Cup at the expense of other great teams. They came from the CONCACAF region and they've qualified for this World Cup. They got trashed yesterday. If they had their chance, they scored first. They could have caused an upset, just like we saw against the Argentines. But they came back and won the game 4-1 convincingly. So I'm still waiting when they meet the Germans or maybe Italy or because they've got
Italy is not in this World Cup, and the Germans, they are not convincing enough. They are not convincing enough. But I'm sure what we learned from the French team
but
yesterday is
the Germans qualifying
the
for.
fact that what we learned from the French team yesterday is the fact that the team has depth. Despite the fact that they are still missing almost 5 quality players. Talking about N'Golo Kante, Paul Pogba, what's it called? Karim Benzema. Was now we have Hernandez joining the fray. And don't
And
forget Nkunku, Christopher Nkunku. They are missing 5 quality players, and they still played the way they played against Australia yesterday. It shows that that team has depth, and I think the rest of Europe and the rest of the world should take note of the French side.
don't forget, Oliver Giroud scored twice last night.
That's right.
To equal Thierry Henry's record in the national team. That tells you the quality they've got there in that team. So I see them going far in this tournament. Whether they can defend it, I'm not too sure about that, but they could go further.
All right, England. Harry Kane is due to have a scan on his ankle 2 days before Three Lions face United States. Cup report said on Wednesday. Kane left Khalifa International Airport on Monday with strapping to his ankle after the 6-2 victory over Iran, but took part in a light training session on Tuesday. Gareth Southgate and the side's coach said face the American side knowing that a victory will guarantee them a place in the knockout stage. Kane, who was the top scorer at the last World Cup in Russia, has history of ankle injury. Now, if anything should happen to Kane, is there a replacement?
I think they think they've got a replacement in What's his name now? The boy from Newcastle. So Wilson, Callum Wilson, right? He's a good player too, but he could play against the USA, and they'll probably rest Harry Kane because I think he's going for scanning today or tomorrow. So just to assess him, they play on Friday. So even if he missed that, before the next game, he will have enough time to heal for the next game. Since he took part in live training, you just want to go on scan and see the extent of the ankle injury. But I think he's going to be fine for the last game of the group stage. But against USA, I expect Callum to play in that game, except they want to play without no striker, which they've got depth for that as well. They could play without no number 9 in that team, you know. So they've got a very good squad. But don't let's go there for now. But I'm sure Harry Kane will be for the last group game.
Yeah, let's quickly give you a of the game that's ongoing right now. It's now 3-0 in favor of who are really having a field day. It's still first half, and they've scored 3 goals already. I think the game on the boot of Danny Olmo, while Marco Asensio and Torres and Ferran Torres, sorry about that, scored the top goal. So top 3 goals in the space of like 15 minutes. 11th minute, 21st minute, 31st minute, got 3 good goals. It's looking real good for the Spanish. Will be able to hold on to that result and probably get another good victory in the Germans. That's going to be a very crucial game for the Germans because of the fact that they've lost today's game. So they must to get victory in that game. But you saw the Germans that we saw against the Japanese. When in that game, it was as if they were going to put the game to bed. Then suddenly, they didn't have a grip hold on that game. That gave the Japanese the opportunity to come back and do that.
No, the Germans have a very good side. To be honest with you, if they play an European side,
but
that
the
let them
experience,
play.
but are those boys experienced enough? Experienced enough? That's the question. Even though they still have a Thomas Muller in that squad, but apart from Thomas Muller and Manuel Neuer, then who are the experienced players? I thought I was going to see Leon Goretzka starts in that middle, but I saw Goretzka coming in the second half. These are the experienced players I feel that are supposed to be part of the starting 11, but surprisingly, it was not. So when I look at the makeup of that German squad, I see a lot of youngsters that lack, that experience and to support them.
No, but like that's true. But to be honest with you, the Japanese were not ready to give in to anything. If you like Yumula or whatever, today they were just ready to, commit 110%, which they did, and they succeeded at the end of the day. So there are days that, like the Germans, they find it very hard breaking this Japanese down. They find it very difficult. At the end of the day, they got a goal, but Japanese came back because they were determined. Just like the Saudis yesterday. The Saudis have laid the template now at this World Cup. If you're determined and you go after Brazilian, if you're unlucky, yeah, they could score you. The Saudis were very lucky yesterday. 3 goals in the first half were ruled out for off. If not, they could have been 3 goals down. Then that would have been it. But they came back. You give them the chance, they'll come back. So that's the way I see the German game today. They've come to the pitch to come and win the game 3-0. Well, what can they do?
Okay, they are still on to today's matches. The last game for tonight, Belgium and Canada. Now, the Canadians, I think this is the first time they are coming this in their footballing history. And if you look at their performance so far, they got against Japan in a friendly game prior to the World Cup, and they drew with Bahrain, while they Uruguay by 2-0, defeated Qatar by 2-0, and lost to Honduras by 2-1. Now, if you look at the Belgian team, the last generation of a Belgian squad, who a lot of football pundits are tipping to, make A now. They can't make A right now, then I guess it's all over for a whole lot of them. Now, in the last friendly game, they lost to the Egyptians, couldn't even qualify for the World Cup by 2-1. What does that tell you? Don't forget that they also lost to Netherlands by a long goal before that game against Egypt.
Yes, that's before the World Cup starts. Laddie, the World Cup has started now, and they're playing against the Canadians. Belgium is ranked number 1 team in the world after today, according to FIFA. Right? And I expect them to win convincingly tonight against the Canadians. They're going to do the job. Against Canada, they'll win that. Subsequent games from the second round, I might not be too sure, But as of today, if they play the Canadians, they're going to win that one. I expect them to get that 3 points tonight. I look forward to the second game.
So are you sticking out your neck? Are you sticking out your neck for Belgium?
Yeah, in this game against Canada, yeah, for sure. Not for the
Okay,
cup
then let's
itself,
see where
but
it
for
goes.
this game. I expect them
Okay,
to.
that game is gonna the game the game is gonna the game is what's it called? It's gonna start at what time? The game is actually scheduled for 7 p.m. So in
7
the next couple of
p.m.
hours, the game will kick off. Let's look at tomorrow's fixtures. Tomorrow is a very big day for African teams at the World Cup. Talking about Cameroon and Ghana. And
Ghana.
Cameroon will set the ball rolling. Early kickoff, 10 a.m. in the morning against Switzerland. How do you fancy their chances?
They'll do well. I will expect them to get a point from that game, but they might not get it. They have good players, Shaka, and that plays in Europe here. So they are a very strong side. I think with the Cameroonians. But if the Cameroonians are lucky, probably a point. No, these tournaments have taught us, you don't put all your money in the basket. Anything could happen. But I expect the Swiss to get 3 points against them.
But
And the
but if you look
Portuguese,
if you want to take the Switzerland's last friendly game into cognizance, they lost to Ghana by 2-0.
no, laddie,
So
friendly games,
and I,
no, friendly games are different from the tournament proper. Because there are some
no
players that
doubt,
will avoid
no doubt.
that will avoid the friendly games. They don't want to play or they don't want to get injured, even if they play. They just want minutes. Tournament proper, yeah, that's where it is.
Yeah,
It's
that's when you
tonight.
separate the pretenders from the contenders. And
Mm-hmm.
another game that's lined up for an African team tomorrow is Ghana going up against Portugal. Now, we saw the Ghanaians against Brazil in a friendly game. We saw the Super Eagles of Nigeria in the friendly. How do you look at the chances of both squad? Do you see the Ghanaians recording another fantastic, surprising, and shocking victory over the Portuguese? Or you see the Ronaldo-led Portugal rule all over Ghana?
It's possible that for the Ghanaians, to spring a surprise tomorrow night. Because if you look at it, the way I say it, right, I've got 2 African teams that I support in mind, and they're the next 2 African teams that I think are in this tournament are Ghana and Senegal. And the Portuguese have got a very good squad, right? Bernardo Silva and all other, they've got a very good squad. But I could see the Ghanaian, you know, upsetting them tomorrow. There could be an upset. I'm not giving my neck out for that, but there could be an upset tomorrow night at this World Cup. So,
Let's see. Well, the game is actually scheduled for 4 people. Come up
tomorrow,
after the Cameroon and Switzerland's game is the game between Uruguay and South. Now, the South Koreans are just like the Japanese in the style of play. They're always very against the Uruguayan side, who I think is aging, except for the inclusion like what's it called? Nuno Hernandez. I'm talking about this Benfica player that just signed for Liverpool. I know he's an Uruguayan
Andes.
player, and I don't remember about Vardy as well. Apart from youngsters and some sprinkle of some other youngsters, I see that as an aging squad. But going up against a vibrant South Korean team, I fancy their chances.
I think the South Koreans will see this as an opportunity to get their first 3 points in this tournament. But as it is, as of today, Eurogans are still the favorite according to the bookies, right? They are the favorite for this tournament. I mean, it's very game, but there's always upset. And I see the South Koreans as a vibrant side, young side that could upset them. And they'll probably get that 3 points tomorrow. If they played well, the way they played to get to this competition, they can stand up to the Uruguayans and even beat them. I'm very, very sure of that. There's no doubt about that.
Last game of the day, Brazil going up against Serbia.
Oh,
Brazilians, they
Brazil.
got so much firepower going forward. They have so much firepower going forward. The team is oozing with depth. Going up
Mhm.
against a Serbian a squad that is rich in experience. Where do you see the pendulum swinging?
To the Brazilian. To Brazil.
You didn't even think about it. You didn't
No,
even
no,
think
no,
about it.
no,
Are
no,
you
no,
that so
no.
sure about? Are you so sure that we're not going to see another upset?
I don't think so. No, I said that. I said that against the Saudis as well. In my mind, not on here, but this I'm saying on there. I expect Brazil to get the 3 points tomorrow. That's guaranteed in this tournament. And you want to get to the final, you have to take the first man out. The Serbians to the Brazilian. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 2-3. That's okay. It's how many goals are they going to score? No, how many? Just how many goals? So I say the Brazilians winning tomorrow. That's very sure. I'm sure
But
about it.
I will advise that you don't the Serbians like that. Show some respect to the Serbians because I know that they have a lot of people playing all over Europe and they might just spring a surprise. Away from the world, give you this story before we call it a wrap for today. Manchester United have confirmed that Cristiano Ronaldo left the club effective immediately on a mutual consent. And still talking Ronaldo, he has, however, been slapped with a fine of £50,000 FA and a 2-match ban following an incident that occurred in April when Ronaldo smashed a fan's phone after Manchester United's lost to Everton last season. The FA have now concluded the investigation and handed Ronaldo his punishment. Now, this punishment doesn't it look inconsequential? Ronaldo is out of Manchester United. It doesn't look like he's going to sign for any other French team, or probably he could decide to go to Chelsea. But as it is right now, we'll learn that he can go to any team. He doesn't need to wait till January before he signs for a team. So, which team do you think will want to have Cristiano Ronaldo in their fold right now? 37-year-old, one of the greatest of all time.
Laddie, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what team will want to go for Ronaldo now. Any big team will go for Ronaldo that will think, well, if Ronaldo doesn't get his way, he's going to go to the press and expose the team. I'm not sure if any big team will not. We'll wait and see. This World Cup might sell him again. He's 37. I don't know if he could get another 4 years contract anywhere, you know, which will make him 41 at the end of the contract. I'm not sure, but maybe a short-term contract of 2 years, 3 years. But I don't see him going to any of the top 5 teams in Europe because if they are settled, they don't want a player they want to bring on, and if they're not going to, if they're going to go wild, and the coach and all that disrespect everybody. Good thing that Ronaldo is leaving. People talk, people are good.
The departure of Ronaldo is good for the growth of Manchester United and the project that in Manchester.
Ten Hag is, yes, I think so. Because, you know, Ronaldo have showed us that there's a fight between him and the coach. And I think this is a good victory for the coach. If you're a coach and you're your ground, right? You want to stand your ground and come out at the end of it as in victory. And that's what's happened, right? Ronaldo is not getting his way. The coach want to do it his own way. Ronaldo is not happy with that. So he's going to speak to the club. If the club is going to let you go, go. I don't need you. Go elsewhere and play football, you know? So I think it's victory for the coach. It could be a victory for Cristiano Ronaldo too, because he's getting away. He wanted to leave Manchester United anyway, because the coach had not got him in his plan. If you look at Ronaldo, people say he scored 25 goals last season. Yeah, he did. Where did they finish in the league? 25 goals and you finish sixth. They don't have anybody in that team
if
that have scored.
the rest of the players,
Hold on, Laddie. They don't
if,
in that team today. They don't have anybody who have scored 10 goals, right? And they are fourth in the league. That's what you want. That's what you want, a team player, not a one-man player. I want to score 30 goals, but I don't mind if we finish 8. But I want to be playing every day. No, let's share the goals and let's finish second or first. That's the way it should be, laddie. This is team football. It's not snooker. Why does everybody have to serve you? Let him go. I think it's a victory for Man United, right? Even Man United came out and said, okay, they're going to sell the club now. Yeah. The Glazers said they were the club in a press release. Yeah, they're looking for it.
let's quickly take this the other side of United story before we call it a Manchester City
Okay.
manager Pep Guardiola has signed a 2-year contract extension that will keep him at the club. Guardiola, 51, has won 11 trophies, including 4 Premier League titles during his 6 at Stadium. City, the current Premier League champions, are second on the table, and Arsenal have faced RB Leipzig in the Champions League round of 16 in February. How far we can go today, and it's been a pleasure bringing to you another edition on the platform of Jambo Radio Scotland. My name remains Ladi Egbediri, and I like to call Zimulini Afolabi Enifemi. Thank you very much, Zimo, for coming on. We should be back next week, Wednesday, with another firebrand edition of Sports Engine Scotland. Bye for now.